80 years after the guns of World War II fell silent, Beijing has turned the memory of victory into a spectacle of power. But what did we learn about China's military technology from one of the world's biggest ever displays of armed might? We'll be talking about nuclear missiles, underwater drones and lasers.
But also why this might not quite be the starting gun for World War III.
Welcome to World Reframed. I'm Ismail Okwe.
And I'm Duncan Hooper. Great to have you with us.
This week, our focus shifts to Beijing, where China staged its biggest military parade in decades to mark the 80th Victory Day, commemorating the end of World War II and the Second Sino-Japanese War.
It wasn't just about history. This was a show of strength. Xi Jinping addressed the nation, inspected the troops, and paraded China's most advanced military hardware in front of a global audience. Leaders from 26 countries were present. Among them, Russia's Vladimir Putin, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, Iran's Masoud Pezeshkian, Zimbabwe's Emerson Mnangagwa, Robert Fico from Slovakia, and Serbia's Alexander Vucic.
And while the guest list signaled Beijing's political alliances, the weapons on display made the loudest statement. Let's start with the nuclear arsenal.
China rolled out the DF-5C, a silo-based intercontinental ballistic missile. Analysts say it has a range of about 12,400 miles, meaning it can reach any part of the US, and carry up to 12 warheads on a single mission. Then there was the new DF-61, a mobile ICBM capable of carrying multiple warheads, plus submarine-launched JL-3 missiles.
That alone would have raised eyebrows, but Beijing went further. The parade also unveiled drones, AI, and lasers, technologies pointing towards the future of warfare.
Yeah, for the first time, the LY-1 laser weapon appeared, mounted on armoured trucks. Defence experts say it could disable electronics, or blind pilots, or take down drones. That's a game-changing if it's deployed in real combat.
There were also some conventional drones, but also AI-powered ones. The standout was the AJX-002 giant submarine drone, about 65 feet long, capable of deep-sea reconnaissance and surveillance. And above ground, stealth combat drones like the J-11, designed to fly alongside manned fighter jets.
And then came the robotic wolves, four-legged machines that can sweep for mines, carry out reconnaissance, or even hunt down enemy troops. Imagine an army of those deployed in urban warfare.
Analysts point out that China seems to have studied Russia's war in Ukraine, which I'm not surprised about, particularly the tactic of overwhelming defenses by throwing waves of drones at the enemy. One expert said China wants not just to augment, but to replace traditional military structures with AI and automation.
And this is where the global reaction becomes interesting. On the one hand, China's parade clearly projects deterrence. We have the technology, don't test us. On the other hand, critics argue that these systems might look impressive, but could falter in real operations.
Yes, because while the US military is known for its bottom-up agility, decisions being made quickly in the field, China's top-down system means no one acts without orders from the top. So even with lasers and drones, effectiveness in live combat could be constrained by bureaucracy.
And as always with events like this in China, it is really important not just to let what you see distract you from what you hear. Xi Jinping, unlike Western leaders, doesn't talk in sound bites. He doesn't need to break into the TV news. So his announcement that the world faces a choice between peace and war, when you see it in the headlines, sounds very much like a threat, especially issued alongside the two leaders who are engaged in a war right now. But it wasn't actually quite issued as such, and was at least buried in a lot of language about multilateralism and supportiveness. He could certainly have been more aggressive. Fortunately, I think the signs are not yet there that we're nearing the brink of World War III.
Still, a war which pitted China and Russia and North Korea and possibly other allies against NATO would be something quite unimaginable. The capacity to destroy today is orders of magnitude away from where it was 80 years ago.
Certainly, and the real test will be if China does decide one day that Taiwan cannot be won back peacefully. That's something they've very clearly been preparing for, and the bigger uncertainty is how the US would react. The future of millions of people would hang in the balance then.
For now, China has just staged a spectacle ending with a musical gala called Justice Will Prevail. But behind the fanfare, the world has just been reminded that Beijing has both the ambition and the resources to reframe the future of global conflict.
And the rest of the world is watching very closely. You can too, and you can get your updates on globalsouthworld.com and all of our social media platforms. We'll see you next week.